Most photographers have got this wrong. And I see so many videos where photographers advise people or tell people to use rear curtain sync when it's really not necessary. I think most situations when you're using shutter drag or you're using slow sync techniques, front curtain sync is by far the best way to do it. And I'm going to explain to you how and why. We're going to do a shoot in the studio here with Shay, and I'm going to demonstrate all of these slow sync techniques so that you'll see the reason why I think front curtain sync is going to be so much better than rear curtain sync. All of these images have been taken with front curtain sync. Now, for those of you who are a little bit confused about slow sync or rear and front curtain sync, I'm going to explain a little bit more about that. But basically it's using a slower shutter speed with flash to give you a sharp image and a blurry image in the one image. So we're going to go ahead and shoot some slow sync or front curtain sync images and you'll see what I mean. Now I should tell you people that this video was shot over a couple of different sessions. 1 week and then one the following week. And in between those two sessions, I had a haircut. So you can see that I've got two different types of hairstyles in this video. Don't be worried about it, it doesn't bother me. Some clips I'll have long hair, some clips I'll have short hair, depending on how I edit this video. Now, I want to explain a little bit more about this rear curtain and front curtain sync, because I don't think I explained it properly before. Now, we're talking about a long exposure here, say 5 seconds. Our shutter speed is going to be 5 seconds, so our shutter is open for 5 seconds. We can use flash with that 5-second exposure. With front curtain sync, which is your default setting on your camera, the flash will fire as soon as you push the shutter button. Then that shutter stays open for 5 seconds after the flash has gone off. That's when we get the blur, when Shay is moving around or we're moving the camera. Or we can set up rear curtain sync, which means that we press the shutter's open for 5 seconds, and then the flash fires at the end of the exposure. That's called rear curtain sync, which is what most photographers are told is the correct way to do it. I don't think so. All the shots we're doing tonight are with front curtain sync, and you'll see we get amazing results with front curtain sync. I don't think there's much need for rear curtain sync, very, very occasionally. So that's what I wanted to explain to you. I've got a studio constant light and I've got a studio strobe that I'm lighting Shay with, the flash. But you can do the same stuff with your stuff that you have. You can do a speed light for your flash, you could use a floodlight for your constant light. It doesn't matter. All you need to do is get your settings right. Now when I'm exposing these images, I will expose for the constant light first. So I'll set up my camera to maybe 5 seconds and I'll vary my aperture or my ISO to give me the blur that I want in that image. Then I adjust my flash to give me the flash power to expose Shay properly with that flash exposure. It's the same as any sort of flash. You expose your camera settings for your constant light and your flash power for the light on your subject. Now you can use this technique for anything. You don't have to do it with model shots or people shots. You can use it for still life photography. You can use it for commercial work. You can use it for street photography. A slow shutter speed with flash will give you amazing results once you work out how to do it and practice it a little bit. You could even do it with landscape photography, I'm sure. You could come up with a way to do it with landscape. A little bit about our light placement now. Our flash is there to light Shay, to make her look good. Not that we need a lot of help, but we want soft light pretty much for that flash exposure. So it's going to be reasonably soft light on Shay. And we've got our constant light on the opposite side to our flash, because our flash is going to light the front of Shay, but the back of her is going to be in shadow. That's where our constant light comes in. It's no good having our constant light and our flash in the same position, because we're going to superimpose both of those exposures over the top. We want our flash exposure to be on this side of Shay. We want our constant light to be on the other side. You'll see how we do it. Now in this situation, the shots we're shooting, we need two light sources. We need a constant light, which is behind me here, and that's going to be lighting the blurry part of the image. and we need a flash, which is over on the other side, that's going to be lighting the still image. So we're using both of them together, and you'll see how I do it. First of all, I'm just going to shoot with the blurry image, just with the constant light, and you'll see what we get with that. Then I'm going to shoot just with the flash. That'll give us that sharp image. Then we're going to combine the two together to give us flash and blur in the one picture. Now this technique relies on having a dark environment. So we're going to turn the lights out in the studio here. Hopefully Robbie will still be able to catch a bit of vision. But you can do this stuff indoors with the lights out, or you can do it outdoors in the dark, wherever you want to. It is also possible to shoot in the middle of the day if you use ND filter. You can slow that shutter speed right down, but we'll talk about that later, and I'm going to make a video about that in the future. All right, so we're going to do just a blurry image to start with. So Shay, I want you just to stand there, and then I'll maybe hold your dress up, because I want you to just take a couple of steps backwards. Okay, so when I say just take a couple of steps backwards. Okay, all right, when I go, okay, step backwards. Okay, that's good. So you can see in that shot that we've got the blurry image. Now we're going to put some flash with that to add our sharp image. So we turn our flash on. Okay, now we take a sharp image. So you can just stay where you are, Shay. Maybe look over towards that way for me. Yep. Okay, here we go. Okay, now I've got Shay turning the wrong way. So can you turn around and face towards the flash for me? Yeah, that's it. Okay, great. Here we go. So we've got our blurry image, we've got our sharp image. Now we just need to put them both together. So we're going to use the constant light and we're going to use the flash in the one image. All right, now I need to be careful to adjust these exposures properly. I need to get the exposure on Shay working well and the constant light blur in the background working well as well. Okay, here we go. So Shay, can you take a little bit of step forward for me, please? Now I need to have Shay facing my flash. I've got the flash over here, which is a strip box on a grid, because I want to try and keep as much light off that black background as I possibly can. So I want to restrict that light. I still want it to look good on Shay, but I don't want the light to be on the background. Similarly with my constant light. I've got some barn doors on there to restrict that light so that it's not going to get on the background too much. Okay, so are you okay to take steps back in that dress? Yeah, okay, just take a little step forward again. Yeah, okay, that's good. All right, here we go, Shay. 1, 2, 3, move backwards, yep. Okay, that's great. You can see the sharp image of Shay, and we've got that blurry background behind her. A combination of the two things. The sharp image is caused by our flash, and the blurry image is caused by Shay moving. Now, we're going to talk about front curtain and rear curtain sync. Now, I've got my camera set to front curtain at the moment. Now, normally with front curtain, if we've got Shay walking forwards, we'd have the blur in front of her. So we'll do that now. Shay, just move back a little bit, if you can. Yeah, that's it. It's very awkward in that dress, isn't it? So when the flash goes off, I want you to walk forwards, please. Okay, here we go. Ready? There we go. So using front curtain sync, as most photographers would, you would get a blur in front of Shay, which doesn't really look the way we want it to look. We generally want that blur to be behind Shay so that we can get that feeling of her moving forward. So it's a bit counterintuitive actually, but we could use rear curtain sync. The problem with rear curtain sync is that I can't judge Shay's pose or her expression when that flash goes off. If my flash goes off at the end of my shutter speed, Shay could be in any sort of position, not looking at the camera. She could have a foul look on her face, which she wouldn't, but she could have. When I use front curtain sync, I can control the pose and the expression. I press the shutter and I just get Shay to walk backwards instead of forwards. It still gives me that blur behind her, but I'm much more in control of the pose in that image. Okay, Shay, so we'll do that. Come forward again. We'll use front curtain sync and we'll just get you to walk backwards once I've done the flash, okay? All right, now, this is not an easy thing to do It's easy for me, but Shay's got to walk backwards in heels with the long dress on. So I think I should pay her a little bit more for this shoot. Here we go. Ready, go. Keep going. Yep. Yes, that's good. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to a slower shutter speed because I want Shay to be able to move further back within the time that we've got. So I'm just, rather than 2 seconds, I'm going to set a shutter speed of 4 seconds. It's not going to change anything in my image except the length of that blur, because my flash exposure is going to be exactly the same. Okay, once again, Shay. All right, here we go, Shay. That's it. Great. So you can see that the blur is longer simply because I used a slower shutter speed. So Shay's got more time to move back as we go. Now, I'm not 100% keen on that front pose, so this time I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to get Shay to turn her face towards me so she's looking at me, because I can control that pose with front curtain sync. Rear curtain sync, I've got no idea. Okay, that's good. So, yep, I want you to turn to look at me. Yep. All right. Here we go. Ready. That's it. Good stuff. So you see, I can control Shay's pose by using that front curtain sync, because when I push that shutter, I know that's the composition I'm going to get. All right, we'll do a couple more of these Shays because they look really good. Back again. This time I'll get you to swirl the dress around a bit, if you can. Yeah, here we go, looking at me. Yep, do the swirlies. Yep, go. Yes, lovely. All right, this stuff gets a bit complicated. So now what I want you to do is to, after the flash goes off, I want you to turn and walk away from me, okay? Goes without saying that your safety is everything. We don't want you to be doing things that you're going to trip over or anything, so make sure you're safe. All right, whenever you're ready, I'll count you in. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Yes, that looks great, Shay. We're going to do a few different styles of slow sync shot tonight. We're going to do a few shots where the subject's moving, so we're going to have Shay moving and using that flash and a bit of blur in behind her. We're also going to do some shots where I move the camera, so Shay can be static in the image in the pose that she wants, and I simply move the camera, similar to an intentional camera movement. You can see the video in the description below. And the last one we're going to do is we're going to be moving the lights around. So we're going to use the flash to freeze Shay, and after that exposure, we're going to be moving some LEDs around in the background, just like light drawing stuff. But it's still classed as slow sync photography. And we still use front curtain sync. For all of these things, front curtain sync is your best option. Another thing you need to consider is your focus. Your autofocus is probably not going to perform very well in these situations, in the dark room, with the flash and the constant light and the movement that we're doing. So manual focus is probably the best option, or back button focus, if you've got that on your camera. I use back button focus, I love it, and it's terrific in these sort of situations. Okay, so I think what we'll do now is we're going to use a few different coloured flashes in the shot. We're going to use our blue constant light still, but we're going to have some red and some green light around as well, just to throw up that orange colour, or the apricot colour on Shay's dress. It might look really kitschy, but we'll see. It might look spectacular. So I've got these gels on my flashes. They're going to give me coloured light. I want to throw a red gel behind Shay so that it's facing onto her and it'll give her a rim light around the outside. And I want to use a blue light on the background, facing back this way. But they're going to get in each other's way. They're going to throw a shadow on there. So the simple solution is to simply take that off the stand, stick it on top of the other one. So that we've got one light, red light coming forwards and a blue light coming back. That solves the problem. I just thought of that. Just maybe move your head around a bit too as you're swaying. Yeah, that's it. Okay, just focus. And for the initial shot, I want you, face turned towards there. Yep, and those hands out in that nice pose. Yeah, that's it. Good. Okay, focusing. Okay, here we go. Yes, love that. That looks really cool. Looks like we've got smoke in the background. We'll do a couple more and I'll show you, okay? All right, so big swirly things. Yep, that's it. Great. Yes, yes, great. So you can see in that shot, I've used a couple of other flashes. I've used a speed light in behind Shay with a red gel on it to throw a bit of a rim light around her. I've used a blue gel on the background on a speed light to throw blue on there. And we've got the continuous blue light and we've got the strip box to light Shay. We might even throw an extra little bit of green in there and just see what happens. Okay, so we're just going to use a green light. 24 mil. Okay, and we're going to place it down here. Swirlies. Yep. Great. That's cool. Oh, that looks amazing. You know, I'm really good at this. Wonderful. Keep going. Yes. Now I'm going to do a bit of camera movement. Can you say it louder? Just the mic picks it up better. Look at those.
Oh, it does look like smoke.
So you're standing, holding the skirt and you're looking back towards the flash. When the flash fires, you just start walking, swishing it around, okay? All right. So I'm giving Shay some instructions about what we want because we're recording a period in time with this stuff, not just a single instant. So Shay, what I want you to do is to hold the dress out here. I want you to turn to look to where the light is so we get that nice light on your face. As soon as the flash fires, you just swish the dress around and walk forwards. Okay, so that's going to give us the still image here and Shay's going to be able to walk forwards. Because in a dress like this, it's quite difficult to walk backwards. I mean, we're just asking for accidents because that train's there, so we're getting Shay to hold her skirt, hold the bottom of the dress and swish it around and she's not going to fall over, hopefully. Okay. All right, so just focusing. That's it. Great. Okay. When you're ready, Shay, here we go. Yes, beautiful. The pink colour really stands out. Now I'm going to ask you to do something a little bit more difficult. Do exactly the same thing, but as you walk forwards, I want you just to duck down a little bit. Okay. So we get that blur just ducking down and it's not in the same sort of plane all the way. All right? Okay. All right, here we go. Yes, you can see the difference that makes. Just that little bob down that Shay does makes a difference. It just changes the look of the image that little bit more. Ready, go. Yes. Lovely. That's great. The reason why that shot looks great is because Shay's walking backwards. I can press the shutter at the time when she looks good in that first pose, and then I can use that blur in the background to give me that background blur. And I can control when I push the shutter. So I'm in control of the timing, the expression, the pose. Okay, wonderful. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to move my camera. So I just want you in a static sort of a pose. So just there is fine because we've still got that light coming in from there. Maybe take a step away from me a little bit. Yeah, that's it. So now I'm going to get you just to stand there and swish, and I'm going to move my camera after that flash is fired. Okay, all right. So, okay, swish away. There we go. Yes, but my shutter speed was a little bit long. My shutter speed was a little bit long there because I got too much white in the image. I moved my camera too far. So I need to try and keep my camera pretty close to that black background. Not swish it like this, I'm just going to swish it a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to change my shutter speed down to 1 second. But what you did was brilliant, Shay. That was really good. Okay. 1 second, f8 at ISO 100. So what we're doing now is I'm doing a zoom effect. You've probably seen these sort of things done before, but I've got that light in behind Shay, I've got that red light in behind her that is going to throw a rim light around her. So I fire my flash, front curtain, and then during that long exposure, I zoom my camera in. It's no good zooming it out because that's going to bring all of those lights in towards Shay. I want to zoom my lens in so that those lights will radiate out of Shay. So you'll see the effect that we get. I'm not really good at explaining this stuff, but you'll see the results that we get. All right, focus. Just turn that face towards that light for me. Yeah, that's it. Okay, when you're ready, Steve. Okay, so here we go, Shay. Which way am I going? Going that way. Okay, here we go. Okay, good stuff. So that actually looks like Shay's on fire, which looks really cool, actually. So that's a really good effect. It's not perfectly linear because the zoom on the lens doesn't really react very smoothly, but I think it looks amazing. Shay's going to love these shots. Just got to try and be careful that I don't get too much light across Shay's face. I want to make her face visible. That one I zoomed the wrong way, so the effect doesn't work nearly as good. So it's quite complicated for an old man to be doing this sort of stuff. Okay, here we go. Yes, okay. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to move the camera a little bit as we do it. I don't want Shay to move because she's blocking that red light from hitting my camera. So that foot out, I like that foot out. Yeah? Yeah, that's great. Here we go. All right. Now that worked out quite well. I was a bit worried that the red light was going to go over Shay's face, but it hasn't. All right, that's cool. Love that. So we're going to put a blue light on the background now, just to throw a bit of blue under that background. Push that knee in like you did before. Yeah, because this will be a full-length shot. Yep. Turn your face towards that light. Yeah. Maybe, yeah, hands down the side, that's good. I need to make sure that's behind you. Just stay still and I'm going to move the camera. Okay, here we go. Okay. Yep, that's good. Okay, now I'm going to do the zoomy thing. Focus. Okay, here we go. All right. Yeah, we tend to get a bit more zoom from under your arms and around your hair, but that's okay. Whew, that was a bit of a disaster. You've got a red mark all over your face, but that's okay. My fault, not your fault. Okay, here we go again. So we can incorporate other things into these slow sync shots. We could include some gels into the background, which we're going to do in a little while, put a little bit of coloured light on our constant light. We can also vary the speed of the movement. So the slower Shay moves, or the slower my camera moves, the more intense those lines will be behind her. If she moves quickly, or I move quickly with my camera, then those lines are going to be less distinct. So we can vary it that way. There are lots of different ways we can do this. You'll notice I'm shooting on a black background. We're going to move around to shoot on a different background in a minute, but it just makes it easier in the studio to have that black background here, because we want Shay's image and her dress and the blur to stand out against that background. I could also do this stuff on a tripod if I wanted to. It just means that it frees me up to be a little bit more instructive with Shay. But all of these shots I've been taking with my handheld camera, and they work fine. Using the tripod just allows you to frame the shot up a little bit more easily, and it just frees you up to see the image rather than shooting through a viewfinder. My DSLR cameras block off the viewfinder when it's taking the image as the shutter's open, so I don't get to see what's happening, but I can just look at my image to see if it's worked or not. So I've just got this little homemade Perspex light brush. I've got a torch in the bottom of it with a bit of a blue gel just to make it look a little bit blue. I'm going to fire my shutter at 3 seconds. Then I'm going to fire my shutter at 3 seconds. That's going to give us the flash on the front curtain to light Shay. Then I'm going to move into the background and just move this thing around for a couple of seconds just to get a little bit extra light in there. So it's light drawing, but it's still slow sync photography. Just stay fairly still after the exposure. Here it goes. All right, that's good. Now I'm just going to switch to a different tool. Okay, do a bit of green. So they look pretty cool.
They still look really cool.
Yeah.
I like those ones. I
So-
think they're cool with the blue and
You
the...
like that, yeah. Okay, for our final act in this shoot, we're going to do front curtain sync and rear curtain sync in the same shot. You've probably never seen this before. It's going to work, I know. We're going to have flash at the beginning of the exposure, then we're going to have Shay moving, so it creates that blur, and we're going to have a second flash fire just before the shutter closes. So we're going to get 2 solid images of Shay with some movement in between. Wish me luck. So how we're going to do this shot is we've got 2 flashes, one on either side of the room, and we've got our constant light in the middle that's turned off at the moment. So we're going to have Shay pose at the beginning, and she's lit by the softbox, the strip light over here. Then once that flash fires, she's going to move across and then do her second pose in front of the other flash, which is a speed light flash. Okay, so the constant light is going to capture that movement. The 2 flashes are going to give solid images on either end. But the problem is that this flash is going to fire when this one goes off. We're just going to have to get Steve to turn this flash off after it fires so that it's not going to fire a second time. Photography is all about problem solving. Okay, so we're just going to see how this works. I'm sure it'll work fine, but cross our fingers. Okay, focus. All right, counting. Here we go. 1001, 1002, 1003. Yes. Yes, that's wonderful, Shay. That's good. Can we do the same thing again, please? All right, here we go. 1001, 1002, 1003. Yes. Yeah, that's it. That's great. So there you go, front curtain and rear curtain sync in the same shot. It took us a while to get it right, but in the end it worked. It was quite complicated, but the team worked it out. It's great to have other people here that can give you suggestions about things, and in the end it was a really simple fix. So there you go. We've done our shoot. Shay was magnificent as usual. You've seen all the images that we've done. Get out there and try it. Just a slow shutter speed using that front curtain sync to get your solid image of your model or whoever it is, and then just those movement lines behind. Either move your camera, move your model, whatever you want to do. You can do some amazing stuff this way. All right, so I'm just going to play around here with my little bubble wand and my red lights. I'll see you in the next video.